There he is.
All right, we got it. Gregory, nice to see you, man.
Nice to see you too. Are you having a good day?
Yeah, it's good. Where are you coming out of?
I'm in San Diego.
Man alive. We drove to San Diego last summer. We went to a Hallmark wedding in Colorado and drove to San Diego. I was at Imperial Beach.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
So it
I
was
live.
man,
Do you know where Encinitas is? Did you get a
yeah,
chance to?
I, I
Yeah, so
I yeah, I'm familiar with it.
so I'm in the mountains. I live on top of a mountain overlooking Encinitas and the ocean and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Wow. That is just
Yeah.
that's great. Well, thank you for taking a minute out today. And I want to know before we get into your life, how did you do in COVID? How did you survive that time period?
Oh man, I as far as like being in lockdown and stuff, we had a great time. I mean, my family, we we had did all these like Olympics things, and we did like I mean, it was fun for us. I
Yeah.
created an environment where we had a good time. But I had a stroke during COVID.
Oh no.
Yeah, and so I was in the hospital during COVID, which was horrible. And I also crashed a electronic skateboard and broke my jaw and 8 ribs. Well, all the ribs on my right side. So I was in the hospital twice during COVID, and it was terrible to be around all these people dying
Yeah.
um, and stuff. It was pretty gnarly, but
Yeah.
outside of those things, I had a great time during COVID. I mean, everybody was complaining when they were in lockdown, but I'm um very grateful that I have like worked so hard to get a nice yard and stuff like that. It was really fun for us.
I think it was for a lot. I think there was a lot of people that had a lot of silver linings that went into it. So let's get a complete handle here on what you do for a living. I'm going to put you hypothetically in front of a bunch of third graders at a career day. One of the
Okay.
kids looks up and they say, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer that child?
I help people who have ideas and visions about changing the future get those ideas off the off the ground by helping them build companies.
Okay.
That's basically it. So, in when I sold in 2016, I sold a company to eBay, and then I sold another one after that. Um, and it was like a pretty sizable transaction. It was 925 million, and then there were 4 private equity awards for transactions between 250 and a billion. And for a while there, I went into politics to try to help out getting people of color and women into Congress. And as long as they can lie and get away with it, it's pretty hard to help that situation.
Yeah.
So I moved from there to helping founders because it was my best option to help those same groups get level out income inequality, wealth inequality, and discrimination in general. And then I started a research project. It was like a 5-year research project. It was a $500,000 investment to figure out why, when, and how founders failed, so I could help them. So basically, like if you think about it this way, 4% of people have the ability to get out from check to check living, and most of that group do it through, they all do it through a windfall. The largest part of that is by starting a business, but then 90% fail by starting a business. So I said, okay, I'm going to help those people, and that's what I've been doing ever since. So just really focused on trying to help people solve problems that are that on this little marble that we all live on.
So what did you want to be when you were in the third grade, when you were younger? What was your dream?
Um, I have autism and dyslexia. So when I was in third grade, I was uh, really struggling just to survive. I wasn't talking or anything. But when I was in junior high school, I started selling Rubik's cubes, and I would catch rattlesnakes and sell them to pet stores. And then I also bred livestock and sold them, and that's how I bought my first car and paid for everything. My family was poor, so anything you wanted, you had to make the money yourself.
Yeah, my son's 18. He's on the autism spectrum. So I've been in the special needs community for quite a while now. And yeah, so it's, I was just talking about this and I talk about it a lot, the abilities and skills that go into, the brains of those that are on the spectrum is amazing. I mean, he can pull memories of people, what they wear, and colors out of big things of Legos in a way that it's uncanny. So it's amazing.
My son is also on the spectrum. These paintings behind me, he painted.
Oh, I love him. Yeah. Yeah. My backdrop, I painted that. I'm a visual artist myself. So yeah, that's cool, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
How old is
I mean,
he?
yeah, he's 18 also.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. My sister, I have a lot of different nationalities in my family. Everybody's fostered and adopted. So I have a Korean sister who's autistic. My son is autistic. My daughter is on the spectrum, and my oldest daughter works with people on the spectrum.
Wow.
So yeah, and so I'm part of a study for autistic people. They scan my brain and do all these studies because I have a unique combination of autism, dyslexia, level 5 dyslexia, which is like I read at a fourth grade level and write at a fourth grade level. So I use machines to help. And then I have synesthesia and savant syndrome. So 10% of autistics are savants.
Wow. My son can't read or write well. And it's one of those things where his brain doesn't process things the way that a regular brain does. It has to be repetitive all the time. So he's never really been able, I mean, he picks up words and things and he's getting better at it, but he's in that same boat. Lots of things that he does is visual, or he'll do text to speech or certain things like that with Siri. But yeah,
Yeah, so it's the same thing with my son, and it is I did a TED talk for people on the spectrum when I first came out of the closet on it because I had it hidden because I'm in business, and I thought for so long people were gonna tease me like they did
of
in
course.
school, calling me names and beating me up and everything. And then when I told everybody and I did the TED talk, it turned out to do the opposite. Everybody was like, "Oh, autistic." Now people think autistic people are like smart people, and we are, but it doesn't show the way it shows. We're not academically gifted,
Yeah.
we're gifted in a different, it's just a different process operating system completely,
Oh, of course it is. Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. And that's the thing that's unique about it. Like when I look at the way Miles operates, and he had a friend at one of his old schools. She could memorize anybody's birthday and tell you the day it was on within like a 2-year window. It was unreal. Like she could just
Yeah,
pull it up. It's like, so I'm gonna be
that's
my birthday's
savant. That's a
yeah,
savant.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
it and it when you see that happen, you're just like, it's amazing. So, I think the bottom line is, of all of the things that exist on this planet, the only thing that we're really in control of is the love that we give those around us. And I've discovered that about Miles. The only thing that I can do, of all of the unknowns, of all of the things I have no control over, I can control the way that I love him. And that's the one thing I know for sure.
Yeah, you're right. It's a big deal, and and a lot of people don't realize that we don't show love the way everybody else does, and it can seem like we're numb or you know we don't care or whatever, but it's not that. It
Right.
just happens in here. It happens in your head,
Yeah.
and we have a hard time. Like for me, my issue is that processing disorders are, if you have everything that comes into your mind comes through your senses, right? Vision, hearing, taste, touch, all of those things, right? Smells, and all of those things are heightened for us.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's painful to when you're trying to get the information in. When it gets in your head, it's like perfectly clear, and it's very, very, I mean, it's so organized, but then getting it from what's in your head out in through words or writing is extremely difficult, so
I
it's
get it.
frustrating all the time because your mind is 100 times faster than you can possibly explain to people.
Easy.
So you're always like, behind, and struggling to try to say something. And then when you start talking, the next thoughts are like backlogged,
Yeah,
and it causes the ones that you're saying to pause because it's just like coming, the information is coming so fast, it's man, it's you
I
know.
get it. I get it. I live it. I see it all the time with Miles for sure. So I'm curious, who's been kind of a role model or a hero for you in your life?
Um, you know, I am one of them is Barack Obama.
Yeah,
I met him a couple times. And I was having like the first time I was I had a big issue. This Secret Service had to come over and like walk me over because I just froze and I was just like, couldn't move and stuff. But he was so nice to me. And he
yeah,
was so, and then the next time I met him, I told him about the first time. I was like, look, I have autism and the first time I blew it and I'm really trying to not blow it this time. And then he says, come here. And he gave me a hug and,
yeah,
told me I had a nice beard and spent extra time with me and walked me over to this Secret Service people. When you leave the visit, he walked me over. I was the only person that he did that with, and I just really like this guy's just awesome. And then I also really like Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Einstein, Steve Jobs, Richard Branson. um, like these people have brought us to a place that we weren't at before. And I like Elon Musk because he's one of our tribe, um, like Steve Jobs and Einstein and everything. But he's lately kind of turned into a little bit of a mouthpiece. But you got to give him credit. I mean, he made reusable rockets. He's doing the Boring Company. He brought electric cars into our world and Tesla power walls and solar. I mean, the guy is amazing.
yeah, for
So I
sure.
think, yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, pioneers, trailblazers for sure. I took Miles when he was a baby. He was probably 3 when Barack was campaigning at Kansas City. And I remember Miles being in a stroller and we could see him as like a little dot far away. And that voice was just booming over downtown. It was
Yeah.
beautiful, man. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's one of my favorite people. Um, you've accomplished a lot in your life. You've overcome a lot, obviously. What are you the proudest of? What is it that stands out where you're like, man, that's it.
Um, I think what I'm the proudest of so far is that I have a wife and kids, and I think that for me that's really lucky because I was not somebody that knew how to get girls or anything. Um, and so that's pretty amazing for me. Meeting Barack Obama was pretty amazing, and the eBay transaction was a big deal. Like that was a life-changing scenario that changed everything for me. And I have a book coming out this year, and for somebody who can't read or write very well, it's a pretty big deal. It took me 3 years. So um I think that those things are some of the things that I'm most proud of. I I don't know if there's anything that I have done that will be what I want to do in the future. So I try to think that I haven't yet done the thing that I'm most proud of.
That's
Um,
cool. It's kind of like that idea of the senior year of high school being the best year, which I always did not like. It's like, are you kidding me? You're going to limit my whole life to this year in high school?
yeah,
Get out of
yeah,
here. I don't want
yeah.
that.
Yeah, high school is terrible.
Oh my
Um,
God. I want it
yeah,
out. No, I'm
yeah,
good.
so bad, right? Oh, so awful. I mean, my first goal, every year I choose a goal, right? I call them a quest. And the rule is I have to do something I think is impossible and I have to finish it by the end of the year. And so I've done things like drove Indy cars, climbed El Capitan, I dove with the great whites, I wrestled a crocodile. Um, I did a swim marathon last year. I swam a friggin' marathon in the ocean
Oh,
and I'm afraid of water. I rode a bicycle 500 miles. I've run a marathon, all these things, right? And my first one was graduating from high school. That was my
yeah.
very first one, is like, just if I could just do this.
Yeah.
Oh, I could just do. And then I joined the Navy and I got kicked out of the Navy because I had lied about autism and asthma and stuff. So
Uh-oh. You know what's amazing about what you're saying is I was watching David Blaine the other night. He was on that show, The Hot Ones, where they eat the hot wings and they all
Yeah,
like start falling apart. He
I
didn't
like
fall
that
apart.
show.
You've seen that show?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, we tried the bomb. My son and I tried it, and I mean, yeah, it is excruciatingly painful.
It's from
So,
Kansas. It's
oh,
made
is it
from they
really?
always bring it up. Yeah, I think it's in like El Dorado, but it's every time they bring it up, I'm like, all right, here we go. Here's Kansas.
Yeah. I mean, it's so hot. Like I mean, the second it hits your mouth, you're just like, ah, ah.
Oh,
And I watch
th-
the hot ones and I'm like, these people are, I mean, I don't know how they're doing it. Sometimes
yeah,
it,
I don't either. But I will tell you this: if you have a chance, watch David Blaine. And David Blaine did not flinch the whole time. He didn't drink anything. I swear to you, nothing. The bomb, nothing. No milk, no water. Went through the whole thing. Then he did this. He did some cute little trick with Sean. He got a
yeah,
Carolina Reaper. Okay. So Sean's going through all these cards. Okay.
yeah.
He has him pick out a card. He like rips the corner of it, shoves it in his mouth, brings a Reaper out of his mouth. I believe that's where it was at. And he
Oh my
lays two of them out. And Sean's sitting there and you can see he's just freaked out. He was like, I've had a Reaper before, all right, and it didn't end well. And somewhere in that minute or two after he did it, the trick was done, they cut it in half and they put it in. Sean started dying and Blaine had no response. And I'm thinking what you're saying, this is the lead in. Blaine has such a mastery over reality and over so many things. Like you say, you've accomplished all these things having autism. And it seems like that's what you've done. You've mastered this idea of taking your mind and putting it where it needs to be and overcoming anything that you want to do.
Yeah, it is. It's true. I think there's two things. One thing is that you, I think struggle is very, very, very healthy. And I think one of the reasons why I've been able to persevere is because of struggle.
Yeah.
And, like your body fixes itself only under struggle, like this phase called autophagy, where your bad cells get digested by your good cells
Yes.
and produce good cells. That only happens when your body's in struggle, like freezing cold or really no food or whatever. And plants that survive break through concrete, and they're stronger when they break through concrete, right? And struggle is really, really important. So you have to learn not just to be okay with it, but not, and to adapt to it, but be welcome it, and then take control over it, right? Because struggle is really a mind game, like hot food, cold water, things like that are all have to do with your ability to overcome things. Like I did a base jump 2 years ago, and you're standing on the end of a cliff, right? And you jump off with a parachute, and you learn to. A lot of people don't realize that your mind is something that you don't have control over. Like if you get stressed out, you don't have control over your mind, right? Because these are chemical reactions that your mind produces when you get stressed or excited or angry or whatever emotion. And once you can get a handle on it, then you can control your mind. And once you can control your mind, you can direct yourself like you're leading a horse, right? And you can direct yourself to a direction. Like with me, it was like, whenever I want to do a big project, build a business, or like right now I have a school for entrepreneurship, which is crazy because it's in 36 universities. A bunch of them I could never get into, and they're teaching my thing. But anyway, um, but you get control of your mind, and then you can really handle it. So doing things that challenge you, doing things that you think are impossible, allow you to start to change the neuroplasticity in your brain, to start thinking about like, well, wait a minute, I did that, I could do this. So like when I did the swim marathon, it was really hard, like I have asthma and I had to keep my heart rate under 120 beats per minute. I had my Apple Watch set up to vibrate whenever I got, so I wouldn't have a problem. And I couldn't make it across the pool the first time. I had to stop in the middle of the pool. And at the end, I swam 6.5 miles. A 10K is a marathon swim.
Wow.
So it's like 6.5 hours of nonstop swimming in the ocean, right?
Yeah.
And I was terrified of the ocean. It took me 3 months to get past my chest in the water because I
Wow.
was so scared of sharks and things like that, And so you constantly have to get control of your brain.
Yeah.
You get control of your mind and say, okay, I'm driving this, not you, me, you know, and then you get a hold of it. The autism helps with sort of that, because you're constantly doing that. You know, when we're masking, like I'm doing right now, where you're like keeping all your ticks together and everything, you know, you're controlling yourself, right? You got reins on yourself, and that makes you stronger and stronger. And I incentivize that to myself, because it makes my life easier all the time.
So everyone out there has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, but you are in control of your life. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think that I am actually inside. I am like a cozy teddy bear. But on the outside, I think people think of me as more not like that, you know, because I have like tattoos and a nose piercing, and my head is shaved just because my hair was falling out. Um, but you know, I think people think because I did bodybuilding for a while, because I was trying to get big so people wouldn't beat me up anymore. And so I think people from the outside think I'm one way, but then when they talk to me, I'm actually like this, you know, more quiet, nice person, you know, that just wants to have friends. And I have a really hard time with having friends, but I want to,
Sure.
you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can get that. I get the whole idea of image and the reality behind it. Yeah, totally. So if anyone out there wants to listen to your podcast, learn more about you, anything pertaining to your world, where's the best place for them to go?
My website is gregoryshepard.com. And on there, all my quests are on there. The studies of my brain are on there. You can access the School for Entrepreneurship on there if you're interested in doing a startup. That's all on there too. I mean, everything, all the businesses I've started, all the businesses I've sold, everything I've invested in, it's all there because my life seems unbelievable to a lot of people. So I just put it on there to prove it to them. And that's that. And then, oh, can I tell you two more things real
Sure.
quick?
Sure.
Okay. So this is my ticket to space. I actually have a real ticket to go to space.
Oh, good for you, man.
Yeah, I've been on a waiting list for like years, and so it's like very exciting. And then this, I don't know where it is. Oh, here it is. I have a diploma. I got an honorary PhD from Michigan State, which
Man alive.
which is funny because there's no way I could ever get into this school.
Right.
There's no way. You know, I mean, I'm like a child academically, but somehow,
You know, anything is possible. And I will tell you right now, it's been a little bit, I don't even know what the right word is. With Miles getting older, and I'm wondering what his life is going to bring him, it's so inspirational to see you and to hear your stories, because I come from a very, very personal place of being involved with the special needs community. So good on you. Thank you so much for opening up your world and all of these things that make you who you are. I really appreciate it, man.
Thank you. You can have them watch the podcast. I made it the TED Talk, because I did it for, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
totally.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to meet you, man. Best of luck with everything.
Have a good day.
You
Bye.
too. Take care. Bye-bye.